Hello, this is Uncle Jim. We've been playing around with red dots on AKs. So I'm going to show you the different ways and options. All right, we'll start with the easy one here. This is my son's PSA 9mm AK, and they have a built-on rail on the dust cover. However, it holds zero because it's hinged. All right, so all you have to do to clean the rifle is just lift this up and it's hinged like that. And in this particular case, when it locks down, it is tight. It's not losing zero, it's held beautiful zero. So there's an option on newer AKs that come with this feature. I like that, it's more like an AR. I also love this Holosun holographic style sight with Shake Awake. It is awesome for this type deal. All right, let's cover more traditional and what you got to do. Well, while we're on that subject, here's a cheapo dust cover someone gave me. All right, and it has locking screws to keep it tight. It fits on my son's Wasser, but it won't fit on my Mac 90. And it also sits too high. I don't know what they were thinking. So there's that, avoid that. It does lock up solid, but way too high. All right, most AKs come with a side mount. My Mac 90 doesn't, so I'm gonna show that at the end. The reason we're trying red dots is AKs have such a short sight radius, it's almost like a pistol, a long pistol sight radius, and when you're out at longer ranges, it really helps to have a red dot on there. And so we've been trying this out preliminary, just, within a few weeks here. So my son bought this mount for his Wasser here, and I really like this mount. And it's gonna be a little pricey, but it's got great features. It is super lightweight. It's aluminum. And I call these side mounts belly scratchers when they're laying against your belly. But in this case, everything is smooth. It's all chamfered and rounded. It's super lightweight. You don't even notice the difference, especially with the small dot. Your locking mechanism's here. It's smooth. You can flip it off. If your red dot goes out, you just flip that off and you're down the road with your sights. You don't have to worry about it. This one's made by RS Regulate. Okay, and it also has a sight adjustment here on this model. So you can move it left or right if you have to, because all AKs are a little funky and a little different. And I like that feature. And then if you're worried about two-piece, you have these pinholes here where you can put roll pins and just anchor her down for good once you're there. I like it because it's low profile. Some of these cheaper side mounts sit too high, and they're not right. This has a really good latch mechanism, and it is really nice. So, and then you have the feature right to left. The funny story on this is, usually when you put a red dot on, you're gonna have to sight it in. You're not expecting it to be right on. My son just eyed the right and left to center it, and then we turned that dot on and fired 5 shots offhand, and it was dead on. Height and windage, so figure that out. That was very unexpected, and expensive. Anyway, this has to be one of the best side mounts out there. And the pros to this is, something goes wrong, you can just unlatch this, let it fly, and keep shooting. So this is really good sight, and it was super easy. I mean, we didn't have to adjust anything on this thing with a brand new dot. It wasn't even sighted in for that. That was amazing. The dot sight picture goes right over the front sight. Okay, so it's sitting right about here. Okay, and the great thing about this is you don't have a cheek weld problem. It keeps it low. At the same time as being low, you can open your cover for cleaning without having to take the side mount off. So that's a plus. It's a little bit tight, but it comes off. So I like that. I like how smooth and light it is and how well built it is. This model is an AK301M made by US Regulate. All right, you also have your options of moving this fore and aft. Okay, now another option out there is a lot of people used to put the mounts here. I really don't like it here because that's where your piston is and all your heat is coming from. And so you have a mount here. The other thing I don't like is the red dot is so far up front, especially a small red dot. It's just too far away in front of you. And you have the heat and all the shock. Okay, down here you don't have the shock or the heat. If we're in camera, down here you don't have the shock or the heat. So I like that versus on top of your, changing out your top handguard there. Your piston tube. I think that's a pain in the butt, and you can still use your factory parts this way. Okay, so the toughest thing was finding a mount for my Mac 90 that doesn't have a belly scratcher side mount. Now we can install one, but I don't want to do that to a Mac 90. And I don't want to use the gas tube or piston tube up front. I want the sight further back and I want low profile. So I searched around and searched around, and this was the best one I can find. It's made by Taro, and this model is the Bravo XL. Very well made. Comes with everything, even blue Loctite. And there's pros and cons to it. It replaces your rear sight, so you're not going to have a rear sight. They have a dummy sight here, okay, which I consider useless because there's no way in hell I'm using that dummy sight. My point of impact would be totally different. As a matter of fact, we're going to do a video on shooting this with the dot off. I'm just going to use this as a giant peep sight in case the red dot went bad or something happened, or if it even broke. Just using the front sight, and maybe this is a peep sight. So we'll do a video on that and see how accurate that is. As far as the dummy rear sight goes, no. I don't know what they were thinking there. You're not co-witnessing or anything. Installation is easy. Remove your rear sight, and I'll give you tips on that. It's super easy. And then it comes with a roll pin here. They give you two, an extra. You just put that in place of it, and then you have this locking piece. And this thing is rock solid. It doesn't move at all. And what I like about it is it's very close. In the picture, it looks like it's sitting up huge. It's not. It's your cheek weld is perfect, everything. I like this because it is rock solid, and you can take your dust cover off. Looking at it, you wouldn't think you could, but yes, it easily comes off and on, and this stays right there. So that's good. We got the Hulson with Shake Awake. I love these dots. And so there's an option if you don't have a side scratcher, you don't want to burn up your red dot bump firing it and getting it really hot. Back here, there's very little shock, and it's just good on the red dot. And I like it back here. So this is very close to a side mount where that would be. It's not far away up front. It's not getting heat or shock. So I went with that. Now, the problem with these, I go to their website, nothing was in stock. The good news is they sell blems that have a scratch on them or something like that. And so you can buy the blems for like I think they have it at $55 or something like that. Normally it'd cost you 70 something dollars, and came with everything. So, but none were in stock. It was unobtainium. So you can buy it from them, and then there's a few other companies that sell these. Nothing was in stock at all. So my son looks on eBay, and lo and behold, someone just posted one, a new posting. It was the only one on there, and bam, it was cheaper. So we got it cheaper. It was called an open box. Everything came with it. It's not really beat up or anything. And so that was awesome. Anyway, I really like this. I'm still kind of getting used to red dots on AKs because I've always shot them with the sights, but the sight radius is close. My eyes are going bad, and so if I want to hit something at 100, 200 yards with the 2 MOA dot, is going to be way easier than the sights. When I was younger, my old Mac 90 could easily do 1.5 inches at 100 rested with iron sights, but I can't see that good anymore, and that's with cheap Wolf ammo. So this one shoots just as good. It shoots really good. So there is that. So pros and cons. The cons on this is you don't have your rear sight anymore. If your red dot goes bad, you're kind of screwed, but we're going to test out at about 25 yards, shooting it with the red dot off, and see if it makes a difference. At close range, it really doesn't. You're using your front sight. And so just put a good dot on there. And these dots, I haven't had one of these dots crap out. It's got shake awake. As soon as I touch that gun, it's ready to roll. And battery life lasts forever. Okay, so I'll show you a few targets when we just preliminary, just sighted in offhand. We haven't rested these yet. That might be a whole video, but we got them close very quickly. This one, okay. One thing I noticed about this one, and I think I saw someone else do a review on this, it's slightly canted upwards, and I don't know if that's so it's easy to take the cover off. But my dot out of the box, unsighted in with this mount, shot a little high and right, and I just brought her down a little bit, and we were good to go. We're doing a 25-yard zero, so that's good out to 300 with an AK. And that's my only complaint. It's slightly canted up. The other complaint is this dummy sight here doesn't work at all. They could have made it taller for co-witness, but whatever. Or even adjustable. As far as how it's made, it is super light, aluminum, and it is strong. It doesn't move one bit. So the way they did this was really nice. I've seen other kinds where you got to change your whole block out and have it here. That's a pain in the butt. And then the other one just had a Picatinny rail or whatever, and you're sitting up higher, and that's not right. This is made, these are made specifically for whatever red dots you have, so they fit down in the cavity. You take your small mount off and just use the original screws from your red dot. They provide the Loctite, and it looks like it was made that way in the first place. You can also get them for pistol sights, the little Holosun pistol sights, which I love. But I prefer this one with shake awake. You get a better window, you can see everything, and tater whatever you want. Okay, so as another side note, on my twin brother's channel, Uncle Jim 3, when I was incognito, I did a video on this Woodstock set from PSA. My son got me to make my Mac 90 compliant and have wood stocks, and I really love this furniture set. However, on the butt plate, they forgot to put a screw in here. So he contacted them, and they sent one out right away. Except for they sent the tang screw up here instead of the butt plate screw. It's also the same screw as your sling swivel here. So my son's at the hardware store right now. This is what they used, and it was missing a screw, and instead of contacting them back again, we're just gonna put new screws on everything, 4 screws, and make them matchy, and hopefully you'll get slotted screws, so it's more traditional. So they forgot 1 screw, but they did, you know, it was just a communication problem, and they sent a screw out really fast. But now we're just going to do that on our own. The good news was they didn't seal this one edge here. The back looked like it was sealed, but this wasn't, where it was milled out. So I just took some linseed oil and an artist brush and then wiped it down with a thinner rag, and it looks factory. So everything is sealed, good to go. And this afternoon it should be all taken care of. It's quicker, faster sometimes. We didn't want to rummage around the garage for a stinking screw and find 4 of these that are the same tapered, same size, whatever. So there's that. Okay, so back to this Atero, installing it. I did a video on that, or footage, and how to properly remove a rear sight on an AK. But it's easier just to stuff in this video and just do a quickie. So, to remove the rear sight on your AK here, all right, you have your rear sight and you have a leaf spring that's right here. And you can see it peekabooing through the gap, all right? So, a lot of people, they'll just take a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, follow this groove down, go to here, and hit it with a hammer, okay? That works. It's crude, but it works. Your rear sight's gonna go flying because of the pressure of the leaf spring. The easier way to do this, now if you do it that way, cover this with a rag and tape it so it doesn't go flying, okay? And that'll, boom, that'll take it off, and you have a leaf spring in your rear sight. The easier way is, I have an arbor press under my loading bench, but you can use a drill press and take a skinny bit like this that fits in this crevice right here, where you can see that end of the leaf spring. Put that in your drill press and just come down and press down on it while you're holding this, and it just comes off like that. That's the less Billy Bob way to do it, and it doesn't scratch anything. You're just pressing down on the rear of this leaf spring, which has a lot of tension. So there's that. Hope that helps anyone that needs to remove their rear sight. All right. All right, so we're running out of time here. So next video, we will shoot them rested, and then I'll shoot the Artero without the dot on and see how that goes. So if you get a side mount, the really cheapo ones, can you ever trust the latch on them? And a lot of them sit too high and they're not right. They're not well made, cheap Chinese. So there's your options there. You can spend whatever you want, but if you want to count on that thing, get a good dot, get a good mount, and go from there. So I hope this was helpful somehow. Thanks for watching. Until next time.